Hi guys. So we stopped on the URL test live test, and in fact, when I've done it, I ran it on my site. I had a URL has no enhancements. I wanted to show you that, but for some reason I can't bring it on the camera behind me. So I'm sorry for that. But it says URL has no enhancements. I really worked hard and I paid some good money to enhance. In fact, it's a subscription kind of plugins for third generation images and all that, all for the purpose of just education purposes. And I'm still, this course is costing me money, in fact, and I'm not even monetizing or selling anything off of this site. But it's quite interesting to show the students how things work. So once you fix all the problems with the URL manager, Google will just tell you that there's no enhancements left and you will be just relieved, really. Okay, so in fact, I wanted to show you, let me just try again. Okay. Now I think you can see it, yeah? So now over here, you can see that URL has no enhancements. So this is the first part of the Google console. It's an overview of all the reports. And then there's the performance. So let's check the performance of this site. I'm not expecting anything good because I've been not active on this site. So over here, you have the total clicks in blue, and then the total impressions. I'm really having a very high impressions on my site. It's a waste that I'm not having that many clicks, and it's because the site is in fact not really functional. And it's not that many impressions. In fact, it's only 21. Usually impressions, we measure them in thousands. So this is not really very high impressions. Average click-through rate is 0.5%. Average position is 27. So I am not, average position is my position in the search engine results page on the SERP. So when you're ranking, my rank is 27. It's very, very, very bad. So the bestest rankings should be about 3 to 5, something like that. This is the bestest, maybe up to 10, maybe you're doing well, but 27 is real bad, real super bad. But this site, I'm not even using it, you know. I'm not active on it, I'm not promoting it, so no wonder. Top queries is a cute baby shop. This is the top query, is 206. Cute baby shop also getting 86. This is maybe probably most likely in my classes because it is not separated. I love mom, I love dad, 4. Gentleman bow, bow ties. Pama, what? Pama baby, and Papa, fleece, one piece baby for winter, maybe baby blue vest. I love Papa Mama, waterproof baby snowsuit. This is also getting some 12 and so. And these are different other keywords. Looking, for example, at this keyword, you can see when it was triggered, these 12 times or whatever times, total impressions 10, these 10 times or whatever by clicking on it. Yeah, so here you can get to know when, you know, it was popular. Okay, so this is about the performance. The URL inspector, I already talked to you about it. I have no problems, but usually if I had any problems, what's going to happen is you're going to be listed with the problems, yeah, and then you will have to fix it. All right, guys, let me switch back to the slides. All right, back to the slides. The Google Coverage Report. This coverage report is one of the most powerful and important features of Google Search Console. Why? Because in the new index coverage report, what happens is it represents an overview of all the pages on your site that Google bots try to crawl and index, along with any issues they encountered along the way. The main page is in the coverage report shows the URLs in your site grouped by status. So it tells you an error. This page isn't indexed. There are several reasons for this. Pages responding with 404 error, among other things. Valid with warnings. This is another status. The page is indexed but has problems. Valid means this is indexed. Excluded, this page is not indexed. Google is following rules on the site, such as no index tags. We're going to talk about all these no index tags and all these things and canonical tags and all that in due course. So you maybe want to exclude some pages, and I'm going to talk about this in due course in future classes. So there are so much for us to talk about and to cover. This is a snapshots from Google documentation on why Google doesn't crawl or index all the pages. There is an index budget, a crawling budget, and not all the pages are indexed because you might have any problems. You need to fix them. Once you fix the problems, more pages are indexed. Your site is good to go. Is my site on Google? How could I know if my site on Google? Please read this slide, and you can tell if your site is on Google. Actually, I showed you in the previous email and the previous video how to know if your site is on Google. You just go all the way. I think in one of the slides I showed you that you go all the way down to settings, and on the settings you will see that your ownership is verified, and your crawl status. You can open the crawl stats. Index crawler, Google Pod desktop, it will tell you about the index crawler. And property added to account, you don't have to remove it, so all is good. So yeah, I already talked about it. So it's all the way down to in the side menu or the dashboard, and it is under settings. Okay. All right. Next. This is the Webmaster Guidelines. Please watch this video. It's not very important, but watch it. It's fun. General guidelines. Here are general guidelines that you will make more sense of it when we learn more about on-site optimization. So please wait until you learn a little bit more about on-site optimization to tackle this. Okay. Why are my e-commerce pages not being indexed? Poor crawl efficiency, maybe duplicate content. This is why I talked about canonical and about you have set some rules, because you have certain, we're going to talk about this in due course. Sitemap is very important. Maybe this is the second thing that you do after connecting to Google Console. So the first thing that you do connecting to Google Console is connecting, and then the second thing you do is the sitemap. Then the third thing is tackling the errors and fixing the errors. Sitemap is very important. It is, in fact, it's important for you to submit it immediately after the connection, so that when Google is ready to crawl your site, it will find a sitemap. And over here we have the Yoast Sitemap. How to Yoast will produce the sitemap in a link. So you just take the link and paste it on Google Console. So I'll show you here in this slide set how to get the XML sitemap. So you go to your SEO with Yoast plugin, you go to features, and all the way under features over here, as you can see here, you go to XML sitemaps. There's a question mark, click on it. With that question mark, you can select I want to create my sitemap, and then you create the sitemap. As you can see here, it has the link over here, and it has the last modified. So if you change the last modified over here, you maybe can trigger that this page is changed. Please index it as soon as possible. But so far, as you have seen in the tweets, Google doesn't look at the last modified. The other link that I showed you in the previous video about the XML generator, that one, for example, in fact, gives you a priority index. So with the priority index, I'm not sure even if Google looks at the priority index, but hopefully it will. And then you could guarantee that certain pages get indexed sooner than others. Exclude certain pages or content from your sitemap. You go to content types and you can exclude them. There are some pages, we call them functional pages or utility pages. For example, the login page or create an account kind of page. I don't think you would like your crawling budget to be consumed over this. Also, you don't want to work so hard on improving on optimizing this page, because nobody will, on the terms and conditions, on the search term, they will search for return policy on this site. Or for example, they're going to talk about, for example, search contact us page. Nobody does that. Yeah, they will search your homepage and from there they go to contact us or go to the return policy or. So there are certain kind of functional pages that you don't really need to index or you don't want the crawler to index or crawl. Excluding content on the sitemap. This is my suggestions. Legal pages you could exclude. In fact, content also related to here legal pages. You can also change the settings here by toggling no instead of yes. Okay, so it's up to you if you want it to be indexed or not. Now, done with the sitemap settings on Yoast, feed the XML site URL to Google Console. So you just need to go to the XML sitemap, take it, and go to Google Console, Sitemaps, and copy the URL into the sitemap URL, and it's done. Breadcrumbs. This is probably beyond the, this is a bit advanced. The students who will understand this are those who are students in my entrepreneurial strategy course and already developed the site. So you have a better overview of the structure of an e-commerce site. So, but in general, please stick around. What is breadcrumbs? Breadcrumbs are basically the little links that allow the user to track their path from the page that they're currently viewing to the page of the website where they started browsing. Breadcrumbs trail, for example, on a page indicates the page's position on the site hierarchy. There are different types of breadcrumbs, and this is one word actually. Maybe I should fix this right away before I forget. It's embarrassing to have it like that. So now it's good. Location breadcrumbs, path breadcrumbs, attribute or keyword breadcrumbs. And these are most difficult. Location, very easy, from home to toys to puzzle to. And then attribute or keyword breadcrumbs. These breadcrumbs, and what was the next one? Path breadcrumbs, of course, the same, almost the same as location. Attribute, these are very important ones. Explain the relationship of products to one another and help visitors to find a new approach. You often see this simultaneous use of two breadcrumbs types at the beginning. There are location-based and there are followed the attribute-based links, which appear when you use filters. It usually looks like home, product category, color, size, shape. Okay. Where is the difficulty? And this is history or path related breadcrumbs. So this is based on the previous pages and they are all lined up. And this is a sample code of a breadcrumb and this is the summary, and this is a little bit about fixing your errors kind of tool. Okay, before I get there, I would like to talk a little bit about the breadcrumbs, that they could get very complicated. Why? This is why I tell my students in my entrepreneurial strategy course to please start with a niche and have very specific product categories and to try to find a niche where the product does not overlap across different categories. Why? For example, in this Cute Baby Shop website, there's a big problem. The big problem is there are some onesies, some products that unisex, but I have two categories. I have a category for boys, a category for girls, and then I have a product. This product belongs to both categories. Okay, I can actually assign them to the both categories, but at the end of the day, when there is a breadcrumb, it is best that I put the breadcrumb based on history, not on attribute or keyword. Why? Because then it depends on whether the user has reached this onesie through the girls category and not the boys category. So these are could be fixed with a plugin, but because in the e-commerce kind of project we have very limited time, so many things to do, I just going to ask my students to start simple. But in the future, if you expand your site and you are faced with this problem where one product can overlap different categories, and the breadcrumb on your site, this one over here, for example, you are buying this onesie or this product for your girl, and it says here boys onesies. It looks bad, isn't it? So in this case, I suggest using the history or path kind of breadcrumb rather than the attribute or keyword kind of breadcrumb. So find a plugin that can manipulate the theme breadcrumbs in such a way that could get you out of this problem. Okay? Okay. Now, the last thing I would like to talk about is fixing your errors with Google Structured Data Testing tool. I'm not sure if some of you has already knew about this structured data tool. I received some problems, some errors when I connected to Google Console related to structured data. In my search, I understood a little bit more about structured data, and I came across fixing my errors through this. I came across this tool, which is Google Structured Data Testing Tool. So I was able to fix all the errors I told you about, like identify that your brand is not identified, reviews or the global identifier is not there. I was able to fix them and then use this tool to test the fix, because there are so many things on the internet that I've tried, and then the ones that I shared with you are the ones that worked with me and for me. And it took me a while, in fact, quite a while, to figure out the solution. So I had to test, and I didn't want to index or ask Google to index the site again and again so many times. It takes time to get feedback. So this is what you do. All your fixes, you run it through this application, this free software tool, so before you actually ask Google Console to run the indexing and the crawling again. So Google always helps us. So if you're questioning, what if I, in the process of fixing my website on Google Console, fix it once, it didn't work, fix it twice, didn't work, fix it 3 times, didn't work, this is no good, yeah, to keep on asking Google and then it's for nothing. So if you want to test your fixing first, this is what I recommend for professionalism. Fix you try your fixes on this testing tool, and then you are confident everything works well, hopefully, then you go to Google Console, you submit your site, and all gonna go well, I hope. Okay, so here is the Google Search Console. Here's the validation, validating your products, issues, fixes for site. Yeah, I had to validate certain things here, and there's a new updates coming up with Google every time. So, and the new releases, make sure that you also be aware of a new release coming up with Google's new algorithm for 2021 that will be focusing on optimizing factors related to user experience rather than just the mere site speed and site structured metadata and all that. So maybe this set of slides that took me hours and hours to prep and very hard work might become obsolete in the future, in the very near future. Maybe I will have to fix my site based on different errors, different recommendations. But I will still say that the main core important factors like speed, maybe brands for e-commerce, the global identifier as well are very important issues for e-commerce and for the Google search engine, and the images optimization and compression would still probably be set and highlight like on the spotlight for quite a while. Okay, I hope that this lecture helped you understand a little bit how to use Google Console, and also encourages you to create your own digital property. This is why I teach the entrepreneurial strategy course. I teach it in the theme or around the theme of creating an e-commerce website, because I am hoping that once you create a digital property, then you will be able to do all the things that I showed you in this lecture practically, and you can say with confidence as a digital marketing graduate of this course with me, that you can go to interviews and be confident and say, yes, I have done this practically. I haven't just read the documentations of Google and just passed certain examinations for Google Ads. In the future also I'm going to talk a little bit about Google Ads, and I'm going to show you practically how to run these ads and so on. So these are the little things that really matters in job interviews, that you show that you already have a Google, you have a digital property, and you already connected this digital property to Google Console, and you know what Google Console about, you know what a recovery report about, you know the URL inspector and what it can do for you, you know about this fixing tool before you actually send the website for indexing again with Google Console, and you know how to connect to Google Analytics as we've done earlier in the previous class, and Google Tag Manager. So Google Tag Manager, Google Analytics, and Google Console. In one of the future videos, I will show you how to connect Google Console to Google Analytics, because you will be ready, as we covered Google Analytics and Google Tag Manager. And now, by the end of this video, we already covered Google Console. You will be able to connect Google Console with Google Analytics. Why do we need Google Console and Google Analytics together? Because as you noticed with Google Analytics demo account, it doesn't tell you the terms, the search terms, or the very popular, it tells you a little bit about the popular pages. Connecting them together is a powerhouse. So this is a recommendation. As a digital marketing consultant in the future, always get that Google Tag Manager, connect to Google Analytics, and then Google Console as well. All right, guys, love you all. I hope that this video was very enlightening, a series of videos on Google Console, and you are now equipped with the technical part of the digital marketing module of this course. I will see you then maybe next Tuesday, because I think I have ran out of time. I've already made long videos this weekend. I love you all. Take care of yourself and stay safe. See you after the Golden Week holiday. Goodbye.